Well, I promised you last week that we'd be looking at a quirky Pro Trek that was sent in to me by the team over at Casio US, and here it is. This is a new addition to their outdoor Pro Trek line. It has a very interesting bracelet strap mechanism. This watch also has some other interesting features to it as well, a locking bezel that we'll dive into. Interested to know what you guys think at the end of this review. Let me know your opinion in the comment section down below. And if you're new to the channel, I do plenty of Casio reviews. I'd love it if you subscribe and hit that thumbs up and then the bell notification. But let's focus on this watch now. Let's flip the camera around and dive straight in. So here is the Pro Trek. This number is PRJB001B-2, coming in at $160 on Casio's website. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below. Casio did send this in for review, so a big thanks to them. Before we dive into the functions of this watch, some I think are good and some perhaps maybe a little bit design over function, but let's go over the specifications before we dive in. This is a tough solar watch, so it charges from sunlight and also fluorescent light as well. 100 meters water resistance, 50 millimeters from lug to lug, a 46 millimeter case, and then a 13.6 millimeter thickness, which when I saw that I thought, well, that's actually quite thick, but the watch is so light. The entire watch is made from bio-based resin, which Casio have been putting on a lot of their watches, and it sounds like it's a resin that is perhaps biodegradable, but it isn't. It looks like the normal resin or plastic that they use. There's no degradation in quality, or I don't think there's any degradation in longevity, the life of the material either. It just means that they've made it from renewable sources. It's made from castor seed and corn oil, and both of these crops can be regrown. It's extremely light on the wrist, and we'll be doing some wrist shots and outdoor shots so you can see it, but it's extremely light, which, considering some of the technology it has in here, is quite impressive. This watch is Bluetooth enabled, which is unusual for a lot of the Pro Trek watches. This is the first Pro Trek that we've reviewed on the channel that is Bluetooth enabled. The watch is really pitched as being an outdoors watch for hiking, and that's why there's this Bungee style watch strap on here. We'll go a little bit more into that as we go through this. But surprisingly for a Pro Trek, it doesn't feature the ABC sensors, the altimeter, barometer, and compass. So just to note that. But there is another feature as well, which is a lockable bezel. So the idea of this is we're currently in the locked position, and you can see unlocked written there, and then the orange paint. If we move that, that is now unlocked. So the orange matches the orange on the 12 o'clock. And you can see that now you get a visual of the buttons. Now, the idea of this is that so you don't accidentally knock the buttons, but you can still press the buttons. Here it's in the lock position, and I'll just scroll through the mode there. So it doesn't prevent you from pressing the buttons. I think it's just so you don't accidentally knock them when you're walking. Let me know in the comment section down below or not whether you think that's a useful feature or not. This doesn't go all the way round. It just goes there and then there. So it's just 2 clicks. There's no other functionality to the bezel. It doesn't do anything with the LCD. It doesn't do any other function other than just stopping you from pressing the buttons from the side, but obviously you can still get your finger in underneath if you needed to change it. While we're messing with the mode button, let's talk about some of the settings. So the watch features the time setting. It features a world time. We have a stopwatch, countdown timer, several alarms, and then we go back to the time setting. The app has a lot of functionality to it. It helps you set the time. You can pick your world time setting on there. It helps you align the hands if the hands become misaligned. And it also has one hiking feature. When you are hiking, what this watch has is a time and pace, I think it's called. But essentially, if we go back to the time setting functionality here, so just scroll back through to time setting, and then you press this button once when you are hiking, and it will plot a point on the map on the app on the phone. So it's supposed to record landmarks and things like that, so you can record where you've been. It doesn't constantly track you round. You press the button and it just drops a pin there. I'll show it on the app here. I'm going to blur the surrounding areas so the roads are blurred, but if you do it, then you will obviously see the full surroundings or whatever area you're in as well. But it only does that. There is no other, doesn't record your steps or anything like that. It is just a one press and it just plots the dot on the map for you. You decide whether that's useful or not. The watch itself, highly legible. This is all loomed, so all of the white you can see on the dial is loomed. I like the fact that the mode selector looks like a ice pick or one of those, I forgot what they call them, the rock climbing wedges where you bang them into the rock and then attach your rope. So it again has that outdoor aesthetic to it. The only disappointment in legibility is this LCD being in negative. It might just be my eyes, but in most settings I find this very hard to read. In direct sunlight you can read it, so when you're outdoors you're fine, but even under the studio lights, as you can see here, it is not the most legible. Certainly you could use the light to illuminate it. There is also a light which does also illuminate the hands. The light is very useful if the lume fades in the night, so you can certainly see it there, but I don't know. I just never like these negative displays on these watches when it's so small. I don't like it on the G-Shocks and when they do it, and I don't think it really benefits from here. It might have looked weird with a positive display, might have thrown the design off, but I just think it's not that legible, especially for a watch that has so much other highly legible elements on it, like the white and the orange, even the case is in a lighter shade of blue. But let me know in the comment section down below what you think. So now get to the highlight of the show, which is something that probably drew you in the thumbnail to looking at this watch, and that is this strap. So this is designed like outdoor gear. In the image it shows online, it shows it being attached over a coat, and that's what happens. So you basically pull it through and then it hooks over this position on the strap, and then you basically press it in. So if we just hook it over there and you basically press it in to these retainers there, so that's how it sits on the wrist. And then to adjust it for your wrist size, if we take this back off here, if we adjust it for your wrist size, you just move this up and down here to adjust it for your wrist size, to tighten it or loosen it for your wrist size. It's supposed to be so that you can easily get the watch off and on. This is going to get really dirty as well on your wrist, this orange, because it's only orange elastic. It is extremely well made. It feels very high quality. And if you just want a watch for hiking and you can just lash it over your coat or over a bag or something else, hang it from somewhere, then it could be ideal. You could also hang this, you could also put a carabiner or a clip through this part as well. That is on very secure. That might be an advantage to it. I just don't personally like it. Now at the end of this, I'm going to show you how to take this strap off, because it does have quick release bars. So what we'll do at the end is we'll put it on a NATO strap and see what we think. Overall, yeah, interesting watch from Casio, an interesting Pro Trek. Nice to see it's got Bluetooth. I do like the design. I think in Japan there is other versions of this that come on rubber straps. So let's take this strap off here and then we'll put a NATO on. So very easy, quick release there to get this off. And as you can see, it's got normal spring bars. It's nothing quirky. There's no special fastening like you get on some of the G-Shocks. It's actually over 23 millimeters the gap there, so you're gonna have to get a 23 millimeter strap. I thought I could be clever and get some of these 22 millimeter pins in here just to show you, but unfortunately that's not working. So I couldn't get the NATO to work, but I did have this 22 millimeter leather strap. It is pretty loose on there. It does need a 23 millimeter strap, which unfortunately is an odd size for straps. You can find them, but it is a bit of an odd size. So just to show you that at least you can get it on a different strap if you wanted to. Looks a bit weird on this leather strap, but anyway, just to let you know. More importantly, what do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time on Casual Watch Reviews.